Welcome to the West Indian Women Network. I am Priscilla Ramtran, the founder here in the United States, and I have a phenomenal guest today. And she will introduce herself and tell us where she's from. So, welcome.
Hi everyone, my name is Kimmora Ward and I am from the beautiful Caribbean island of Montserrat. Thank you so much, Priscilla, for having me on your show.
You are most welcome, and thank you for joining me. I know your time is very precious.
You're
So,
welcome.
yeah, so tell us about you. What are you doing all the way out there?
Well, I am living life as
Yeah.
anyone should, as anyone who is in this universe should. I am living life. I am doing the things that I desire to do, and I am doing what I feel God has called me into this universe, into this realm to do. So, what I feel like expressing at this point is that no matter what or how you feel at any given time, just know that you have a purpose in this earth. Yeah. And because I know this and I have learned and I've grown to know this, step out in faith and I do what God has called me to do.
I
So
love
I am
it.
an auditor. I'm an auditor by profession, but I do write and I write a lot. And yeah, that's a little bit
Awesome.
about myself.
Well, welcome again. So tell us what you write. You have your book with you? Can we see it?
Yes, I do. So this is actually my second publication. It's called Goodbye Bipolar, A Healing Journey. My first publication would have been a book of poetry, which would have been dubbed Inner Reflections, uh, thoughts that came from within, sorry.
Yeah.
And Goodbye Bipolar, because I want to focus on that since it was the latest release. It came out last year, October the 12th, 2 days after World Mental Health Day. And
Mhm.
the reason why I would have, started to create this project is because I was diagnosed with the mental condition at the age of 19.
Oh,
However, I was in a state of a fighting spirit. I was always a fighter and I am still a fighter and I never let the diagnosis get me down. So January of last year, I was in my quiet time and I got a download. I was praying and I just heard from the Heavenly Father, why not write a book that will actually tell persons of how you cope with your mental condition? And
yeah.
so we have Goodbye Bipolar, A Healing Journey. So that is,
Congratulations on your book.
thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yes.
That's amazing. And thank you for
It
sharing your story with us. It's not always easy
is.
to.
Listen, I'm at peace. I'm at peace with it because then now I realize I see the bigger picture. You know that they say
Yes.
hindsight is 2020 vision. Yes,
Yes.
so it's like when I was actually in it, like when I was 19 and when I was going through my 20s and then I would experience episodes and so on and so forth. It's like I was like, why me? And that kind of thing. But it's like,
Yes.
why not you? Why not you? Who
Mm.
would you prefer? Who would you prefer? Like I listened to Les Brown, those
Yes.
motivational speakers and stuff like that. And I remember Les Brown saying, God would say, like, who would you prefer? Who would you prefer to do something like this? So I said, you know
Mm.
what? This is what I have. I am actually, these are the cards I have been dealt, and I am just going to play them, because sometimes I don't know if you're ever playing a game. It may
Mm-hmm.
be cards or domino or whatever,
Yeah.
and you get dealt a hand of whatever it is, and you say, but what am I doing with these cards? How am I going to win this game? But at sometimes you actually do win the game
Yes.
depending on how you play, so you just have to have a strategy and that's all there is. Life is actually it's actually a game, the game of life. It's how you play it, and
Indeed. Well said. Mm-hmm.
the things that you do will actually promote you or
Yes.
demote you. So
Yeah.
it's just about consequence. It's just about your choices. It's just about you making healthy choices, wise choices, and making informed decisions. So that's what I choose to do as I have evolved, you know? Yeah.
Right. Wow. That's amazing. And I love that you're not going the opposite
Mhm.
direction and letting your diagnosis hinder you, but instead you're allowing it to strengthen you.
Yes, I am. I am. I am. I am indeed allowing it to strengthen me. And I am very much asking God to strengthen me to strengthen others because I feel like I have been endowed with a mission,
Yeah.
and what I seek to do is carry out a mission, allow persons to get the realization, or to get it in their brain that, hey, no matter what circumstance you find yourself in, no matter what predicament you find yourself in, you can actually bounce back, and you can bounce back better than before. Because there have been a number of times that I
Yeah.
have fallen off the horse, and I have said, hello, you fall 7, you get back up 8. No matter what, you're going to get back up. And because it's not only me, and it's not me doing this, it's God, and it's who God has positioned in my life, it's who God has
Yeah.
placed as my parents, my friends, my co-workers, the people in my neighborhood, just people in the universe who are just kind souls,
Yes.
people like yourself who see something in me and say, hey, she's a champion in some form of fashion. She's a phenomenal person in some form of fashion.
Absolutely.
Let me interview her. Let me interview her. And you don't know whose life you actually impact when
Right.
you do things like this.
Right. And the other part that came to me was a lot of times we experience symptoms and feelings and we don't speak up. We don't go to the doctor. We don't find out what's happening. If it's something that is really alarming, is really important to seek that
Yes.
professional help.
Yes. And just a bit of background information. What would have happened is that it was my mother. My
Hmm.
mother was the main instigator, or the main proponent in
Hmm.
the whole saga. She was the one who said, "Okay, my daughter needs help. What are we gonna do? What is the plan?" She went to the doctors. We went to the doctors. She's been a support throughout. Not just her, but she was the one who started it, and my father as well. They were like, no, this has to be solved. My stepfather, everybody was on board. Kimmy, you need to get out of this rut. Because growing up, I was always this person who was great at school, always an achiever. I was doing stuff in the church and all of that good stuff. But then, like any teenager, you become interested in the opposite sex, and you start to become involved with doing stuff and that kind of thing. And
Uh-huh.
I was like,
Unmentionables.
doing that kind of thing on going against what my mom would have said, okay, Kimmy, don't do that yet and whatever. But I went against it. And, it didn't go down too well when for me, I took it emotionally. I was like, you know what? I feel bad doing this behind my mom's back. And I went and I told her, hey, I did this. But all of that is covered in the book. And I'll
Okay.
just leave readers to
Yes.
discover what would have taken place when all of that went on, because it's just what happens, what takes place after you make certain decisions. Like I would have mentioned, you have to live with your consequences and so on and so forth. So that's what I have learned to do.
Well said. Well said. Yes, let's get that book. I'm excited to read it. So you'll give me the links and we'll put it in the description box. And yes,
Yes.
spread your story. That's so amazing.
Yes.
So I know you said the
Yeah.
motivation for the book came through prayer. What is your motivation each day to continue
Yes.
the work that you're doing?
Yeah. Well, for me, my practice, that's my motivation. So just
Hmm.
it's also stemmed from my mission,
Hmm.
because I know that I am like I said at the beginning, I'm placed in this earth and I'm placed on this earth to carry out a mission. I have a mandate. God has given me a mandate. That is my motivation. I wake up every day seeking to see, I'm seeking whom I can help. Who can I tell about the greatness of God or about the goodness of just believing in yourself and knowing that you can achieve your goals, you can achieve your objectives. Who can I be like a role model to, even if I don't go and specifically speak to them? Who can I show in the way I act, in the way I carry myself, in what I promote, you know?
Right.
And two, I have ventured into creating a YouTube channel whereby I speak. Yeah, I am actually on YouTube, where I actually speak to mental conditions. And I don't just speak about bipolar, you know,
Right.
because I have experience with depression. Because before that, bipolar is a form of depression, by the way. Yeah, it's just more advanced. It's just that you can be depressed or you can be manic. So I know persons may not know exactly what bipolar is, but when you think, listen, humans on a whole can be quote unquote bipolar, but a lot of people use the term loosely, like, oh, she's bipolar, oh, he's
Right.
bipolar, you know, but they don't specifically know what it means. But when when you're really clinically diagnosed, you know that, hey, you have to be hospitalized in order to get through your episodes. And that was what that's my case, yeah. And with Goodbye Bipolar Healing Journey, I actually explain to my readers, hey, for me personally, I take on board what the doctors say. I do my part. I take my medication. I try and get enough rest. I eat well. I exercise. I do all the good stuff. But I am actually on a journey. And I know that it is possible, because a lot of people think that it's not possible to, you know, be weaned off medication. But I feel to myself that one of these good days, one of these God good days, I will be weaned. I will be medication free. I will not have to depend on chemicals to keep me well. I feel
Amen
like
to that.
that way. I'm not saying that you should, I'm not giving the message. I do not say that Kimmora Ward says, but I am just saying, for me personally, I'm doing the work, you know, to get to that stage where me personally, I don't want to be medicated. I want to live a life where I am health conscious. I am doing the work within. And because I am stable spiritually, I am actually living a well-balanced life without being medicated, if you get what I'm saying. Because
I truly get what you're saying. I think that's an amazing goal to reach for. You want to be naturally healed.
yes,
Absolutely, I hear you.
yes,
Well, I
indeed.
really appreciate you sharing your story
Yes,
and being so transparent with us, you know, because like you said, even if you reach one person, then mission accomplished.
yes, indeed.
Yeah. So
Yes,
what is
yes.
your inspiration?
And for me, it's
Sorry. Go ahead.
my inspiration.
I was going to say, what
No.
is your
But what no, what is my
inspiration each
inspiration?
day?
Okay. So tell you what, each day I started with communicating with God. And I started actually before I get out of bed, I put myself in a state of mind, like I smile. I said, this is going to be a good day. I literally condition my mind before I get out of the bed,
Yes.
because you know the enemy, and you know it is true, there is an enemy roaming among us, and he's just there waiting for you to like get up in the mornings to make your life wreak havoc in your life, yeah. But at the end of the day, I wake up with a good spirit, and if I even do not feel 100%, because all days are not the same,
Right.
I get in my prayer closet and I pray, I meditate, I journal, because I am a writer. And
Yes.
before I started to write books, I was journaling. That was my thing. I was. in a journal, writing, 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 writing. And that was my thing,
Yes.
you know, and it is still my thing because it helps me. It's very therapeutic to me, you know, and it's one of those things that helps me to maintain my sanity. So that's my inspiration. I get my inspiration from God. I get my inspiration from the mere fact that I have come a long way. So I inspire myself. I have that intrinsic motivation.
I
So I
love
think
that.
you can, yeah, you can say like inspiration, motivation, use them interchangeably. And I say, yeah, I motivate myself, you know, and I am motivated by where I have come from and what I have achieved over the years. And I said to myself, hey, you have reached far. You have come a long way. And that in itself motivates me to press on and carry on. And just knowing, like I said, my mission, I always fall back on that statement. I have a mission to carry out, I have a mandate, and I am going to carry it out no matter what. I'm going to stick to it that people, not just people on my island, but
Mm-hmm.
people regionally and internationally, they are aware that no matter what predicament, no matter what circumstances they find themselves in, they can bounce back. They can rehabilitate. They can be achievers again. If they were not even achievers, they can become achievers. And that's just
Absolutely.
me. That's what I want to do.
I think the human spirit is unstoppable, but you have to fuel it.
Exactly, exactly. And if you don't feel it, and if you don't take accountability, you have to be accountable for yourself. Yeah. And I think that's one of the things helped me, that has helped me during this
Mm-hmm.
journey, because I said to myself, I had to accept my disorder. Because it was one thing to say, okay, you're diagnosed with you have bipolar, but there is another thing for me to accept it and say, okay, am I really going to take these medications? Am I
Mm-hmm.
going to exercise? Am I going to listen to motivational speakers and, do the personal development so that I can climb out of this rut? Am I? Because if you don't, you're doing a disservice to yourself,
To
right?
yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to take accountability for yourself, because all the help in the world is not going to do anything if you do not want it for yourself. So that's why I always start with people. And that's why I think my mission is to get through to people,
Mm,
get through to the individuals that,
right.
hey, you have to want it for yourself. You have to want to put in the work, you
I
know?
love that. Well said. Really well said. That's
Thank you.
right. You're welcome. So, what message would you share with our viewers who either have a story, they have an unexpected situation, unexpected diagnosis? What message would you say to our viewers in this moment?
Okay, so first let me start off by saying everyone has a story. And
Right.
if you feel like you want to tell your story, by all means, go ahead. There's many ways to get your stories out there. You can write music, you can write books, you can do scripts for plays, you can be very creative, you can be very artistic, and you can get your message across to anybody in the world. And because the world has been made smaller through means of media, social media, we have Facebook, we have Instagram, we have Twitter, we have TikTok, we have YouTube, we have all these mediums,
Endless.
or media rather,
Yeah.
endless media that we just scroll through aimlessly. And rather than scrolling
Right.
through aimlessly, what you can do is be creative and tell your story if you really want your story out there. And another thing, you had asked about persons who have had an unexpected diagnosis or what have you. Because of the pandemic that we would have experienced in 2020, there was a lot of persons who were depressed, a lot of persons who became, they thought that all hope was lost. They
Right.
would have lost people through death, and they would have been, in a room by them or in a house by themselves and all of that. And they would have developed some form of mental condition or whatever.
Right.
What I said to them is that, hey, you are never alone. No matter even if you are a person who lives alone, you can network. There are so many videos online. There are so many They're actually good people out there in the world that you can literally align yourself with. And what I will say to them too is pray. There's nothing like having a good prayer practice or a good spiritual practice. You may not believe in God, you may not be a Christian and all of that and all sorts and all forms. You may believe in you know, New Age, you may be Muslim. It doesn't matter. Once you believe that there's a higher power,
Yes.
once you believe that there's something bigger than you in this universe that controls everything, you are in a good place. You're in a good state. And once you do the work, once you keep the support going, meaning you reach out, you do not close off yourself on people, because that's the worst thing you can do. You need to be able to reach out. So if you feel like, hey, I feel a bit depressed, I feel like I'm losing myself, I don't know what to do, reach out. Listen, no man is an island, and there must be someone that one can reach out to get assistance, to get help. Do not put yourself in a state and then, God forbid, you commit suicide and all. We don't need to get to that. You understand? We can find ourselves in groups. We can find ourselves on call lines, hotlines, speaking to someone that will assist us. And that is my message to give to your audience, to give to your listening and viewers.
Thank you for that message. It is just so important to find the courage to seek some kind of guidance, an outlet, somebody just to talk to get your feelings off your mind. I
Yes.
really appreciate that for sure.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
are welcome to come back anytime to share what you're doing, share any messages, just
Yes,
come
ma'am.
have some fun with me.
Yes, not a problem. And I'm just so thankful to be in this space, to be here with you, to have this conversation with you. So thank you so much for considering me. You would have shared with me, it started off as a hobby and what have you, but you don't know, you can go many places. You can reach, you can leap, you can go beyond that you've even dreamed of. So that's just my sentiment, and that's just my little motivation to you. Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate that so much. And I'm
Yeah.
loving the people that I'm attracting for this channel and for the network. It's becoming a family,
Yeah.
a worldwide
Right.
family.
Yes. And
So thank you so much.
that's
Big
good.
hugs.
That's great.
And I'll see
Yeah.
you
Big hug.
soon. Yeah. Say bye.
Yes. Bye. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Thank you.